Hey everybody, Kyle Goth here from GoatFilmReviews.com and the Goat Film Reviews YouTube channel, and I've got my first thoughts, my quick reaction to the new Ridley Scott film, Napoleon, which I believe opens in theaters on November 22nd. I was able to go to a press screening for the film, and here are my thoughts. First of all, let me say, production design was fantastic, costume design lovely, makeup wonderful. From a purely technical standpoint, Ridley Scott always seems to hire some really great people in the background that can elevate production, costumes, and makeup, and there is no exception here. I thought production, design, costume, and makeup was fantastic on, The Last Duel, one of his other recent films, and I think that's no different here. I think that Vanessa Kirby does a great performance. I think the battle scenes, I want to highlight the battle scenes. The battle scenes, outside of one little editing choice that I didn't agree with, the battle scenes were terrific beginning to end. There's just one sequence, and I think it's in the second battle scene, that's probably about an hour into the film, where the editing choices kind of betray the placement of the people on the board. It's almost like the editing made it difficult to see the chessboard and where the pieces were. But it was like for one part of the sequence that I was kind of like not really sure where I was supposed to have my focus as a viewer, but then it quickly, reconnected with where I should be. So it was one little thing at the battle sequences, but I thought overall the battle sequences were done quite well. Now, let me say this. I liked Joaquin Phoenix in this role. I didn't love him. And in a year when we had something like Beau is Afraid, a completely different and unique kind of performance from him in that sense, I felt like there could have been more to his character, and I think part of that comes down to the screenplay by David Scarpa. This film doesn't really give me much in terms of Napoleon as a man. It feels almost like we're hitting the beats of his life, but we're not diving into who he was and what he was. There were moments when I felt like we were going to get there, his quest for power, his quest for more, but it's so rare in the film that we get that. And so in a lot of ways I clung to Vanessa Kirby's character, who gets a lot more to do earlier on in the film, for kind of my emotional guidance. The elements of Napoleon as a written character were a little flat, and he is the focus of our film. I think Vanessa Kirby does a really great job with what she's given to do. I think she has a little bit more to do in terms of the emotional range. But I think Napoleon himself, as he's written, it kind of feels like a stock character in his own movie. Not a terrible screenplay, but one that could have been better. One that could have fleshed out him as a man and what he pined for and who he was and why we should be interested in his exploits. Because that's something that, you could say, well, he's the villain, right? True. I mean, he's not really the villain, but he's not a good guy. But I look at other Ridley Scott films, and I'm thinking about American Gangster here with Frank Lucas, played by Denzel Washington. The screenplay gave Washington a lot more ground to cover as a performance and as a character, and we felt ourselves drawn to him while also knowing he was a bad person in a number of ways and should get what's coming to him. Even in House of Gucci, we understood the main character played by Lady Gaga. We understood who she was and what she stood for, even if we didn't like her often throughout the film. In The Last Duel, Adam Driver's character frequently is a monster, but we understand the monster. We understand who, and that's even more difficult because that's seen from multiple perspectives, and that would make it much more difficult to really dive into who he is as a character because we're seeing him from multiple points of view. And it still has that. But Napoleon doesn't seem to give us the character of Napoleon. I criticized Killers of the Flower Moon for focusing on the bad guys more than on the good people. But at least I knew the bad guys. I understood the bad guys in that film. This one, I feel like I get Napoleon because I get history. Because I understand the history of Napoleon, that I understand who he is, not because of the film. And that's maybe my biggest fault with Napoleon. Now, again, I'm going to give this film a marginal recommendation because I do think so much else in the film is so well done. And even though Napoleon as a character isn't the greatest character in the movie, the title character, there's still a lot more to watch. And I was genuinely entertained from beginning to end. There's just some faults with the film, things that I think could have done better. But I do think the good outweighs the bad. It's just that I'm frustrated by a main character who I think is the weak point in the film. Those are my thoughts on Napoleon. Let me know your thoughts down below in the comment section. And give me your favorite Ridley Scott film down in the comment section as well. While you're down there, please like and subscribe. There are 2 free things you can do that help support the channel immensely. And you never miss new episodes of the show as they drop. You can also check out goatfromreviews.com for my many written reviews. You can check out Goat From Reviews on Facebook. You can follow me personally at Almighty Goatman on Twitter, Instagram, Letterboxd, and Threads. And you can find my show, Kyle and Nick on Film, that I co-host with Nick Blodchuk from the St. Paul Filmcast. We have new episodes every single week. All those links are down in the description. We'll see you next time.